Hey, how's it going? It's your boy ChiefsRaysBolts here, right back at you with another round of Major League Baseball postseason. Joined alongside, as always, Casey, A's Raiders, Dubs, Sharks. And did you expect this to be the World Series outcome this year?
Not at all. Not at all. I did not expect Atlanta to make it. I mean, they were a good team last year and they made the NLCS last year, but most of this year they were not very good. And their division, was kind of weird. It was the Mets at top at some times. It was very fluctuating. And I think they definitely faced a lot of adversity playing the Dodgers. Astros, I mean, I could kind of expect that, but I maybe wasn't my first choice, for the American League to predict that. But yeah, how about you? Like, where are you coming from on this?
Well, like you said about the divisions, right? It's interesting because I remember, like, at the midway point of the season, it was the Phillies and the Mets atop that division fighting it out, and Atlanta was just kind of
Yeah.
sitting behind them. Nobody really heard their name. And then just out of nowhere, here they come, huge lead in the division, and that would be the end of it. They make the playoffs. But again, 88 wins season. That's not like necessarily a great. I mean, it's a good record in baseball terms, but it's not like elite company record. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like obviously, I didn't expect them to make it this far, but at the same time, they are one of the more experienced teams in the playoffs, and they've been knocking on the door the past couple years. So I feel like they just I feel like it was they were bound to make it at some point. In 2021 is that some point apparently because here they
Right.
are in the playoffs. Last year it was the same NLCS except it went to a game 7. I really wish Atlanta would have won that game 7 because who knows, maybe the Rays would have won the World Series.
Yeah.
But you know, that's that's all you can say about that. 2019 season, 97 wins. Let me go see. Did they? How did they do in the playoffs that year? They lost the NLDS to the Cardinals in 2019.
Right.
The previous year, they would lose in the NLDS to the Dodgers, and so like they've just been in the playoffs year after year. They've been knocking on the door for such a long time now, and
Yeah.
it just seems like this year is finally the year that they get past that. They defeated the Dodgers in 6.
Hmm.
Could have been 5. Honestly they could have swept them if the Dodgers didn't
Yeah.
have that late comeback in what was it, game 3. So, really like they were clearly the better team in these games, and I'm happy for some of these players. A lot of these players, by a lot I mean like 2, they're former Rays. I'm talking Travis d'Arnaud and Charlie Morton. So just I'll be rooting for those guys to get a ring because they were fantastic on the Rays and I miss them a lot. But I think at the end of the day, it's the city of Houston versus the rest of America in this series because there's
Yeah.
no way in hell I'll be rooting for the Astros.
Same here, man. Definitely. I have despised of the Astros even before the cheating came out. I mean, as a division rival, I never liked them, and the fact that the cheating came out, it's bugged me. And I think now a lot of people are rooting for them to lose, not just because of the cheating, but if the Astros win this World Series, they're basically proving that they can win a World Series without cheating, which basically means that you really can't use cheating in an argument ever anymore if you're going to talk about the Astros. So I think definitely a lot depends on this. And the Braves, I don't really have any previous liking of them, and I don't really think there are many. I think there's one former A's player on them, Stephen Vogt, but I don't really have much of a liking for them. But I'm definitely rooting for them 100%, as I was when they played the Dodgers, because I don't like the Dodgers, and so I definitely want the Braves to win this. And yeah, I think they deserve it. I mean, Freddie Freeman's a guy who's been playing for so long. He's been on the Braves for like 11 years, right? And they faced a lot of injuries. Like Acuna couldn't play this year, most of it, and they have a lot of good players. I think deserve rings, like you mentioned. So yeah, definitely rooting for them. I can't root for the Astros at all.
Well, in the league championship series, there was only one team out of the 4 that I didn't dislike. I can't stand the Red Sox. I can't stand the
Yeah,
Astros. If not for the cheating thing, I wouldn't mind the Astros. I really wouldn't. And I actually saw a tweet today that it was just somebody, not even an Astros fan, asking like, "Hey, why are people still mad at the Astros? Like they're clearly over the whole cheating thing." And the response, which was the perfect response, is it was because it affected the integrity of the sport. There was no
Yeah.
punishments. There was no punishments. There were no apologies from the players at all. You know, Alex Cora, what, was the only guy who got punished, and it was like a 1 year ban? Come on.
Yeah.
So that's why,
Yeah.
and I agree with that. You know, if there would have been proper actions taken by Major League Baseball to address the situation, I wouldn't mind the Astros as much. But just because of the whole situation, I will forever dislike the Astros just based on the
Yeah.
2017 season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, like like to your point, like I'm over it. I'm not going to be like grieving about the Astros cheating my whole life. Like I'm not someone who was really affected by it as much, even though they were our division rivals, and a lot of the games they beat us in were cheating games. I do think though, I definitely agree with the integrity thing. I mean, it's like now you really can't trust teams, and you have to think if this happened to like the A's or the Rays, there would have been punishments and there would have been fines because that's just the
Yeah.
Astros were an up and coming team with a lot of popularity around 2017 through 2019. I mean, they had a lot of fans just kind of come out of nowhere, it seemed like, and I just don't really think that it was the right thing. Now, with that being said, I'm not my whole life going to be like,
Yeah.
oh, the Astros are cheaters like 20 years from now. I'm not going to do that. But like, I'm definitely never going to really get over it 100% because it ruined the game. And now I can't really trust them. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, and I should mention, I'm kind of embarrassed that I didn't have this off the top of my head. That was actually your tweet that I was referring to there. I like a bunch of
Yeah.
tweets, and I don't even really pay attention to the name all the time. But yeah, that was your tweet. That was what I was
Yeah.
basing that off of. So yeah, I mean, you're totally right on that.
Yeah.
And yeah, no. But what I was saying was when it came down to the Final Four, the Red Sox, Dodgers, Astros, and Braves, the only team that I didn't dislike out of those four were the Braves. That's it.
Yeah.
Um, the Braves are, I feel like they can be a fun team. Like I said, they've been competitive for the last several years. They've got really likable players like Freddie Freeman. Um,
Right.
and they're just, I went to their stadium 2 seasons ago. Fantastic fan base. It's been a long time coming for them. It's been like a near 30-year drought for them. So I think it was 1999, so not that long. Like, what does it do the math? 22 years, I think. 22-year
22
drought.
years.
And yeah, I mean, it's been a long time coming for them. I feel I'm happy for their fan base because they're a great fan base. They're a great city, and this is, in my opinion, a big FU to Major League Baseball. Taking away their All-Star game this year based on something that had nothing to do with the organization or the team itself. Like, that whole thing was ridiculous to me. So I feel like this is just, hey, screw you. We'll go to the World Series.
Yeah, and you got to remember that Atlanta fans I think we talked about this last time. Like they lost 28, they were up 28-3 in a Super
Oh, Atlanta
Bowl.
fans
They
are.
lost.
Oh man, yeah. Atlanta fans just have been a factory of sadness in their sports fandom as of recent. You lose two hockey
Yeah.
teams in your history. Um,
Yeah.
the Atlanta Hawks, correct me if I'm wrong, just lost the conference final this last season.
Semifinal, but yeah.
Semifinal. Okay,
Pretty.
they still
Yeah.
they went out in the playoffs and they were like pretty. They were one of the better teams this year. Yeah, I think they were.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. The Falcons 28-3. We all know 28-3. I think they lost the NFC Championship. The Falcons did the following year after that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
To the Eagles, and oh my God, it's just like the whole thing is
Oh,
just a factory of sadness. I feel bad for Atlanta fans. Like, what did they do to piss off the sports gods? I don't know, but the
yeah.
Braves are looking good. Don't know if they'll be able to get past the Astros. I hope they do. I'll be rooting for the Braves. I think all of America outside of Houston will be rooting for the Braves in this series. And if they do, it'll finally, maybe not finally, but it'll at least kind of ease a little bit of the pain that the Atlanta sports fandom has had to go through these past couple decades.
Yeah. and they also blew a 3-1 lead last year in the NLCS, which I
Oh
bet,
no, that is true. That is true.
yeah, which
Wow.
I bet was really tough. I mean, 3-1 on the Dodgers, and then they would have played you guys, and
Yeah,
I would have been, and
I'm
yeah,
not
I
so
mean,
sure we would have won that, but I think it would have been a better fight. But
yeah,
it's just it is what it is. Played the Dodgers and lost. But
yeah,
you know,
I mean, it was just such. I think like looking back on these playoffs, it was just weird in general because I think everyone's consensus pick was like, I mean, my pick was like Rays Giants. I was going to be happy for that because I could have gone, and you could have gone too. I mean,
yeah,
it would have been, yeah, and or Dodgers Rays again, or Red Sox, like Red Sox Giants, Red Sox Dodgers. Like I had like a set 5 matchups. I
yeah.
never suspected the Braves would make it though. I thought they were a good team, but I didn't think they were this good.
Yeah,
So
I didn't see that coming either. And like you said, I kind of expected the Rays to get back just because there were so many signs in
yeah,
my head that were just pointing to it, and I was so confident in the team. And no, first round, you just decide to fucking suck all of a sudden. Yeah, it's painful, but again, it is what it is, and here we are, Braves, Astros. Nobody wanted to see the Astros get back, but here they are.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
mean, I'll probably watch a couple of these games. I don't have a whole lot of interest, but I will be pulling for the Braves regardless,
yeah.
without a doubt.
I can't imagine these ratings are going to be off the charts. I don't think they're going to be super high. Um, and I agree. I mean, I'm going to watch them, but I got other stuff to do that's probably more important. I'll just put it that way. Like, it's one of those World Series that it's like not the most desirable to watch. It's like, recent years, like obviously last year was really cool because you had like the Rays who like never won it, and you had the Dodgers who had a 30-plus year drought. And it's like the year before that, you have the Astros and then the Max Scherzer's Nationals. It's like you look down the years, and most of them are very exciting matchups. This one is exciting, don't get me wrong, but it's like not something I was completely anticipating, so it's kind of a shock a little bit. But yeah, I think I'll definitely watch it though when I can.
Yeah,
So
I'm with you there. I'll watch it when I can.
yeah,
Yeah. So who do you got winning? Realistically, not
so
who you want to win, but like realistically, who do you think is gonna win?
I'm gonna say the Astros. If all biases aside, I'm gonna say they win it in 6 games. I'm going to say they go up 3-1 in the series. Braves make it interesting in game 6, or game 5, sorry. And then in game 6, the Astros clinch it. I mean, I would really love if the Braves won it, but I just see the Astros. We played them, the A's played them like 20 times this year. I know how good of a team they are. And although they haven't, I guess this playoffs, they've looked good mostly, but they've looked good in later in the series. Like the one against the Red Sox, like I thought the Red Sox might win it, but the Red Sox kind of choked at the end, and the Astros they kind of rise to the occasion. So I think I got Astros in 6.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the Astros have been here 2 other times in the last
Yeah,
4 or 5 years, so they have the experience, right?
yeah,
But
they do.
yeah, I don't know. I think their pitching though isn't as good. Obviously, they don't
Right.
have Charlie Morton. It's funny because Charlie Morton's in the opposing team now. I believe
Yeah,
Charlie Morton was a starting winning pitcher for their Game 7 win in
yeah,
2017, and now here he is in Game 1 starting against the team he won it with. So yeah, no Charlie Morton. I don't think Verlander is. He's been on injured, hasn't he?
yeah. He's not going to play.
Okay, Verlander's not here. Morton's not there. That's the only thing that Atlanta has going for them is the pitchers aren't as good as they were with Houston's 2017 or 2019 team. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think realistically probably Houston. I don't think it'll be 6. I think it'll be 7. And I think when it gets to 7, it's anybody's game. It's either gonna be
yeah,
Houston or Atlanta, obviously. But once it gets to that Game 7, there's no clear cut like, oh, I think this team's gonna win. It could be anybody at that point.
yeah,
So, but I
yeah. And I mean,
think yeah.
yeah, and I think that's one good thing about this World Series. I think it's like, yeah, I think the Astros are going to win, but I honestly, if the Braves won, I wouldn't be surprised. They played
Mm-hmm.
good in the playoffs. We don't have a team here that's a fluke. Both these teams have proved they're good. And although you mentioned earlier the Braves only had 88 wins, it's not, that's nothing to be taken lightly. I don't think they had a slow start, just like I see them very similar to the Nationals 2019 team because
Mm-hmm.
had a very slow start. There was uncertainty if they were going to make the playoffs, and look, they're here. They're driven by key veterans and younger players too, kind of like the Nationals were, and in that year. And I think they have a shot. I mean, I'm just going against them because I think statistically the odds are on the Astros side because, like you said, they have experience, they have a lot of talent, they have just a lot of things on their side, and the Braves are going to be facing some adversity going into this. They Acuna, who's arguably one of the best players in baseball, if up there with the top. He hasn't really played all year, and that's a big thing. So I think for them to win it without him would just kind of prove they're a good team. Um, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it. I mean, this wasn't going to be a
Yeah,
long video to begin with because it's just one series rather than 4 or 8 or 10. So, it's just naturally it's not going to go as long. But, I guess let
yeah,
us know what you think in the comments. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I have for this one.
yeah. I agree. I think it'll be interesting, and yeah, sounds good.
Alrighty, well, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next stream, or not stream, but pre-recorded stream technically, and whatever that might be. So,
Yeah.
catch you then. Thanks for watching. Peace out.